If you ever find yourself sipping lukewarm coffee at 8:47 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, staring at a pair of Louboutin heels in an Instagram story that do not belong to you, and yet you recognize the shoes next to them, congratulations. You're about to have the worst day of your life. And maybe, just maybe, the beginning of your most calculated one. I'm Camille, 35, corporate attorney. Strategist by trade, wife by design, and as of this moment, an accidental detective with a vendetta. Let me set the scene. I was at my desk, headphones in, pretending to draft a shareholder agreement when my phone buzzed. It was Tasha, my college roommate turned wine night lifeline, sending me a screenshot from Instagram. No caption, just a burning matchstick emoji. The story was from a private account, at Sophie in the City. Name familiar? It should be. Sophie was my best friend, maid of honor at my wedding, bringer of Pinot and bad Tinder stories. That Sophie. And there she was, legs crossed under a rooftop brunch table, champagne glass in hand. And across from her, a very familiar pair of brown leather Oxfords. My husband, Jason, owns exactly one pair like that. Italian, custom soles. I gifted them for our 5th anniversary. The stitching, the curve of the toe. I could pick those damn shoes out in a police lineup. My stomach dropped. That was the moment. You know the one. When the air changes. When your heartbeat becomes a metronome for rage. When disbelief doesn't cushion the blow because somewhere deep in your gut, you've known. You've known for weeks, maybe months. But you chose not to see it because seeing it meant acknowledging the thing you were afraid would kill you. Except it doesn't kill you. It transforms you. I didn't cry, didn't call Jason, didn't send a dramatic text or storm out of the office. No, I did what any woman with a legal degree and a decade of emotional suppression would do. I opened a folder on my desktop titled Personal. It was empty until that moment, and renamed it Asset Reallocation. Then I got to work. First, I booked a facial. Not because I needed one, but because the receptionist at Le Visage is also my husband's ex. She gossips like it's a contact sport. I smiled as I scheduled it. This was going to be fun. Second, I reactivated an old Venmo account Sophie used during our shared apartment years, found her current handle, and traced the last 6 transactions. 2 for Uber, 1 for a boutique hotel downtown. Timestamped exactly when Jason had told me he was pulling a late one at the firm. Receipts. Literal, digital, time-stamped receipts. This wasn't just an affair. This was betrayal on a PowerPoint timeline. And I wasn't about to let either of them walk away with their reputations, their social circles, or their curated images intact. Let me be clear. I'm not the yelling type. I don't throw plates. I don't key cars. But I do read NDAs like bedtime stories. I understand digital footprints better than most IT guys. And I know how to build a narrative so compelling that when it detonates, there won't be survivors, only a slow, public unraveling. So no, I didn't scream. I smiled. They say revenge is best served cold. I was about to make it glacial. Here's what nobody tells you about betrayal. The pain doesn't come all at once. It shows up in fragments. A casual love you text from your husband while he's with her. A double heart emoji on Sophie's good vibes only post. The realization that the exact charcuterie board you taught her how to make is now being served on your serving tray in her story. Yes, I said your tray. I knew it was mine. There's a faint wine stain in the corner from New Year's 2019 when Jason spilled a Syrah and said, "Don't worry, babe, I'll buy you a new one." He never did. I cleaned it, I kept it, and now it was in her loft, the one I helped her furnish when she broke up with her ex. That sting? That was Tuesday. Wednesday was reconnaissance. I needed to know how deep it went. Were they just sleeping together? Or was this an emotional affair, the real gut punch kind that takes years to get over? Spoiler, it was both. See, when you've been with someone for 11 years, you know their tells. Jason lies with his left eyebrow. He's always done that twitchy little raise when he's bluffing. In poker, in arguments, in job interviews, the eyebrow always gave it away. So when I told him over dinner, I think we should plan a trip soon, just the two of us, no phones, no distractions. And he said, "Yeah, that'd be amazing." With that twitch, I smiled. He was never going to book that trip, because he'd already booked one with her. That's when I logged into his travel rewards account, the one I set up, manage, and fund every time I pay off his damn credit card. There it was, a reservation for two, Napa Valley, spa weekend, wine tasting, the works. I mean, if you're going to cheat, why not do it with my points? My next move? Subtle sabotage. I sent Sophie a bottle of her favorite wine, the same Chardonnay she made me drink every girls' night even though it tasted like regret, with a handwritten note. For your weekend getaway. May the vintage be sweeter than your conscience. No signature, just a return address, Jason's office. You'd be surprised how fast someone can spiral when guilt is mixed with exposure. Sophie didn't respond, but her Venmo was quiet for 2 days after that. No brunch payments, no split dinner notes. Jason, meanwhile, became affectionate, touchy, asking if I wanted to binge Succession again, even though he always said it gave him anxiety. That's when I knew. Guilt makes liars perform better, but only for a while. I wasn't planning to confront him yet. No, that would be premature. Because I hadn't made contact with the one person who would complete the perfect trifecta, Sophie's boyfriend. Or should I say, fiancé. Oh yeah, did I not mention? They were taking a break. Apparently that break meant she had the time to sleep with my husband and also plan her reconnection weekend with her fiancé, Max, a startup founder with more money than charm, but enough mutual friends that I knew exactly where he worked, what car he drove, and which of my mutuals still followed him on LinkedIn. You see where this is going? I messaged Max. Brief, polite, devastating. Hi, Max. I thought you should know your fiancé and my husband are planning a secret weekend in Napa. If you'd like details, I have photos, dates, and text threads. Let me know. It took him 10 minutes to reply. Send everything. And oh, darling, I did. Max called me. Not texted, not emailed, called. It was 11:03 p.m. and I was curled up in bed watching true crime when his name flashed across my screen like a final plot twist. Camille? His voice was calm, steady, but I could hear it, that barely suppressed fury, the kind only betrayed people know how to carry. Yes, I said flatly. There was a pause. I thought she changed, he said. I really did. I let that hang for a moment, because how do you respond to that? She didn't, felt too obvious. I'm sorry, felt too forgiving. So instead, I said the only thing that mattered. Do you want to do something about it? Another pause, then, tell me everything. So I did. For the next 40 minutes, I laid it all out like evidence at a trial. The texts, the travel booking, the matching Instagram timestamps, the shoes. He laughed bitterly when I said that. I remember those. You bought them for him? Anniversary, I replied. Of course. Then he told me his side. Apparently, Sophie had been recommitting, his word, not mine. She said she wanted to go to therapy, get back on track. She cried about how much she missed him, And the whole time, she was planning Napa with Jason like it was some Bachelor in Paradise bonus episode. I should have known, he muttered. She changes her phone password every 2 weeks. She started doing that around Jason too, I said. Told me it was for security, as if I'm going to hack her Instagram. He chuckled, that kind of dark, hollow laugh that doesn't reach the eyes. We were both quiet for a few seconds, just breathing, letting the truth settle like dust in the ruins. Look, he said finally, I'm not some rage guy. I'm not trying to go nuclear. Neither am I said, but I am going for precision. And just like that, we had an alliance. Max and I agreed to meet. Public place, neutral territory. A coffee shop near his office, the kind of trendy, minimal space where everyone pretends they don't eavesdrop, but totally do. I wore my best low-key power outfit, nothing flashy, but sharp enough to say I'm not the one. He walked in with the energy of a man who just found out his engagement ring now feels like a very expensive punchline. We didn't hug. We didn't shake hands. We just sat down and opened our laptops like two executives preparing for a hostile merger. Max had screenshots, photos, a shared Airbnb itinerary from her iCloud calendar, which she apparently forgot to unsync from their shared iPad. Classic mistake. I brought the Slack messages Jason didn't know I'd exported, and a copy of the hotel's booking confirmation with both their names. They booked under her name, I noted. Smart, keeps his paper trail clean, Max smirked. Not smart enough. Here's what we decided. We weren't going to confront them at Napa. No, that would be too easy. Instead, we'd let them enjoy it. Let them sip overpriced rosé, take mirror selfies, maybe even feel bold enough to post something cryptic like healing or weekend bliss. Because what we were planning required them to think they were still safe. We gave it a week, long enough for guilt to fade, for overconfidence to bloom, for them to let their guard down, and then we'd take everything from them with a smile. Let me tell you something about liars. They're predictable, especially when they think they've gotten away with it. The day Jason left for a partner strategy offsite, I packed him a travel bag, folded his shirts just the way he likes, slipped in a bottle of the cologne I used to love but now couldn't smell without picturing her nails raking down his back. Don't wait up, he said at the door, grinning like he wasn't about to spend the weekend violating his vows and some mid-range wine budget. I won't, I said, smiling. I watched his car disappear around the corner, then grabbed my laptop and messaged Max. They've left. Let's begin. What followed was, quite honestly, art. Max booked a table for two at the exact winery they'd planned to visit Sunday afternoon. I sent a short, professional email to the manager. Hello, I'd like to schedule a surprise proposal for my partner during our tasting this weekend. I've noticed a booking under Sophie Tran for 2 p.m. Sunday. That's us. Hope you can help. The winery responded with glee. Romantic gestures are their whole thing. Of course they could help. And just like that, they assumed Sophie was about to be proposed to during her own stolen romantic weekend. Oh, but we weren't done. Max also posted a series of photos that Saturday night, throwbacks of him and Sophie captioned, "Couldn't be more in love with this amazing woman. Thank you for choosing me. Can't wait for tomorrow." Within 20 minutes, 3 of her friends had DM'd her. Within 30, her mom texted, "Is there something you want to tell me?" And somewhere, in a cozy B&B with a 4-poster bed, Sophie began to unravel. Jason, I assume, tried to calm her down. She probably lied. I don't know why he'd post that. We're not back together. He probably lied right back. Don't worry about it, it's just noise. Meanwhile, I was at home, cross-legged on my bed, glass of wine in one hand, scrolling through the chaos unfolding in real time. People talk about revenge like it's an explosion, But it's not. Not when done right. It's erosion. Quiet, patient, inevitable. By Sunday morning, Sophie's anxiety was boiling over. I know this because Max forwarded me the text she sent him at 9:04 a.m. WTF are you doing? Delete those posts. We're not together. I swear to God, if you ruin this. Classic. But Max? Oh, Max had his roll down cold. Ruin what? I thought we were reconnecting. You said you missed me. He included a screenshot of her "I miss you" text from 2 weeks prior, which I helpfully suggested he save. At 2:01 p.m., Max and I sat in his car, parked discreetly behind the winery's guest parking, sunglasses on, earpieces in, listening in via a live mic the manager was accidentally wearing. What can I say? I know a guy. You'd be amazed how many bartenders moonlight as audio techs. We listened as Jason and Sophie were led to the special proposal table. Rose petals, champagne, a little white card that said, "Say yes." Jason said nothing. Sophie? She panicked. She stood up, knocked her chair over, said something about needing the bathroom, ran. Jason followed. We watched it all from the live camera feed the winery uses for promotional footage. Yes, there's video, and yes, that's going to come in handy. Later that evening, I sent Jason a message. Hope you enjoyed the weekend. Let me know when you're back. We need to talk. Simple, clinical, the kind of thing that makes someone sweat through a linen shirt. And just like that, the weekend ended. But the fallout? Oh, sweetheart, that was just beginning. Jason came home Sunday night at 10:42 p.m. I know the exact time because I was sitting on the couch in the dark, laptop closed, phone face down, listening to the sound of his key hesitating at the lock. That tiny pause told me everything. He already knew. He didn't know what I knew, but he knew the weekend hadn't gone the way he planned. He stepped inside like a guest in his own house. "Hey," he said softly, dropping his bag. "Hey," I replied, equally soft. That scared him more than yelling ever could. He started talking immediately, about traffic, about how tired he was, about how Napa wasn't even that great this time of year. I let him ramble. I even nodded. I offered him water. I asked if he was hungry. I played the role perfectly. Because here's the thing. When people lie, they expect resistance. They prepare for questions, accusations, tears. What they don't prepare for is comfort, calm, space to keep digging their own grave. Finally, he cracked. "You said we needed to talk," he said, sitting across from me. "What's going on?" I looked at him, really looked. This man had shared a decade of my life. Inside jokes, Sunday routines, deaths, weddings. The kind of intimacy that rewires your nervous system. And he threw it away for my best friend. So I slid a single printed photo across the coffee table. The shoes. His face drained of color so fast, I almost felt bad. Almost. "Before you say anything," I said gently, "I just want to hear it from you. Start wherever you want." He opened his mouth, closed it, ran a hand through his hair. "It didn't mean anything," he said. I smiled, not because it was funny, because it was predictable. "Try again." "It just happened," he continued. "We were both stressed. You've been busy. She was there. It wasn't planned." I leaned back, folding my arms. "You booked a spa weekend with my points." Silence. "I think you're confusing not planned with not thinking you'd get caught," I added. That's when he did what cheaters always do when cornered. He blamed me. "You've changed," he said, voice rising. "You're always working. You don't laugh the same anymore. Sophie listens to me." Ah, there it was. My best friend wasn't just sleeping with him, she was auditioning to replace me. I see, I said. And when you were listening to her, did you mention that she's engaged? He froze. What? Oh, I said lightly. You didn't know? That's interesting, because she spent Sunday morning begging Max to delete his engagement announcement. Jason stood up. What are you talking about? So I showed him the screenshots, the timestamps, Sophie's messages, Max's replies, the winery reservation confirmation email with the words "surprise proposal" bolded at the top. Jason collapsed back onto the couch like gravity suddenly doubled. You set this up, he whispered. No, I corrected. You did. I just stopped pretending not to see it. He started apologizing then, fast, desperate, overlapping sentences. He said her name too many times. He said mistake like it was a get-out-of-jail-free card. He even cried, which I'll admit surprised me. But I didn't comfort him, because while he was unraveling, I was already 10 steps ahead. You should know, I said calmly, standing up. This conversation isn't about saving our marriage. His head snapped up. What? It's about closure, I continued. For me. Then I handed him an envelope. Inside, copies of financial statements, account transfers, and a neatly organized timeline of his affair, complete with dates, locations, and overlapping lies. I've already spoken to a lawyer, I said. Everything I need is documented. His mouth moved, but no sound came out. And tomorrow, I added, you're going to tell Sophie that it's over, because if you don't, Max will. I paused at the doorway. Oh, and Jason? Yes, he croaked. This was the last night we sleep under the same roof. I went upstairs, locked the bedroom door, and slept better than I had in months, because the truth was finally out. And the real revenge? That was coming next. Sophie texted me the next morning. Camille, please, can we talk? I stared at the screen for a second, then locked my phone. That wasn't a request. That was a woman realizing she'd finally run out of plausible deniability. She tried again an hour later. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. You have every right to be angry. I miss you. She misses me? You don't miss the woman whose husband you've been sleeping with for months. You don't get to play best friend and backstabber and expect brunch after. But I didn't respond. Instead, I posted a photo. Just a quiet shot of my morning coffee on the windowsill, captioned, Peace, finally unbothered. No rage, no subtext, just power in silence. And predictably, Sophie viewed it within minutes. Left it on red like a coward who knew she couldn't spin her way out. By noon, Max messaged me. She showed up at my place, crying, saying it wasn't real, that she was confused. What'd you say? I asked. Told her the truth, that she doesn't know how to be loyal, to herself, to anyone. Max doesn't yell, he's surgical with his words. That's why I like him. He cuts clean. And that's when Sophie cracked, because at 3:14 p.m., she did something stupid. She tried to save face. She posted a long, melodramatic Instagram story, white text on a black background, the usual performative nonsense. Sometimes people make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Love is messy. Healing isn't linear. Please be kind. And just like that, she outed herself. Not directly, no names, but enough breadcrumbs that every mutual friend could guess what happened. Within minutes, I got 3 texts. Camille, what is going on with Sophie? Please tell me that post isn't about you and Jason. Girl, call me. But I didn't, because I'd already scheduled a mass email. Subject line, let's clear the air. Just a few close friends, no drama, no dragging, just facts. I wrote it like a PR statement. To those I care about. It's true that Jason and I are separating. I discovered he was having an affair with someone I considered family. I won't name names. Their actions already speak for them. I appreciate your support, but don't need pity. I'm focused on rebuilding. Thank you for respecting my peace. It was classy, precise, atomic. By 7 p.m., Sophie had deleted her post. By 8, I heard through a friend she called mutuals to beg for silence. But it was too late. You can't unburn a bridge, especially when you set the fire yourself. Jason always thought he was the golden boy at work, the kind of man who could flirt with HR and still get promoted, the charming partner with executive presence. The reality? He was one spreadsheet error away from being replaceable, and I knew exactly where to push. You see, we work at the same firm, not in the same department, but close enough to share an elevator, share whispers, share reputations. And Sophie? She wasn't just my best friend. She was the junior associate I personally recommended. The irony still tastes metallic. So when I drafted the HR complaint, I didn't have to lie. I didn't even have to exaggerate. All I did was attach screenshots. Calendar invites labeled creative syncs that turned out to be hotel stays. Slack messages that tiptoed the line of harassment. The you up kind that had no business living in a corporate thread. I didn't even sign my name. Because once HR gets wind of a consensual relationship between a senior partner and a junior employee, especially one he promoted after they started sleeping together, there's an automatic review. Policy is policy, and Jason had violated more than one. 3 days later, the firm announced he was stepping back from leadership duties, pending investigation. Sophie? Placed on indefinite leave. It spread fast. Office gossip travels faster than wildfire in dry brush. People weren't shocked. They were thrilled. Turns out Jason had more enemies than he realized. He'd used his charm like armor. But charm doesn't save you from a paper trail. And me? I walked through the halls like smoke after the fire. Not smug, not cruel, just untouchable. The CFO pulled me aside the next morning. "I'm sorry," she said quietly, "about all of it." I nodded. "I'm not." She blinked. "I didn't lose anything worth keeping," I added, "and I finally got my office back." She smiled. Later, I packed up the framed photo of Jason and me from my desk, the one taken in Greece. I'd kept it there out of habit, like a souvenir from a life that no longer fit. I replaced it with a print that said, "You can't lose what was already gone." By the time Jason realized what hit him, I was already making my exit. Not from the firm, from him. Divorce is not a single moment. It's a series of cold signatures, timed silences, and inbox pings that feel like mini funerals. But it's also power. Quiet, slow-building power. The morning Jason was served, he called me. I let it ring out. He followed with a text. "Can we talk?" I replied with 2 words. Through counsel. Because I no longer owed him softness. Not after he made me feel disposable in my own life. My lawyer handled everything. Jason tried to negotiate, of course. Cried poor, claimed emotional distress, said the affair didn't define him. But I had documentation, evidence. And the firm? They were eager to distance themselves, which meant leverage, which meant I got the condo, the car, the savings account, and every last travel point he'd used to cheat. Poetic, right? Sophie tried one last reach out. A handwritten letter. It arrived in a pale pink envelope, scented like betrayal. Inside, the usual. "I was lost. I never meant to hurt you. You were like a sister." I didn't respond. I just slid the letter into the shredder and watched it disappear piece by piece, until all that was left was a quiet whirring and the knowledge that I'd never have to read her lies again. Funny thing, losing them didn't feel like grief. It felt like decluttering, like breathing in a room that finally had space. I redecorated the apartment, changed the locks, burned the sheets, bought myself the stupidly expensive reading chair I'd once talked myself out of because Jason said it wasn't practical. And one night, I sat in it, wine in hand, silence around me, and realized something. I was free. Not just from the marriage, from the smallness I'd lived in, from their secrets, their manipulation, their whispered justifications. Jason had shattered the life we built. I swept up the pieces and built something better for me. By spring, my divorce was finalized, my name was mine again, and my peace had grown teeth. People think revenge is dramatic, a scream, a slap, a viral post. But real revenge? It's thriving in silence. It's walking into a room where everyone expected you to be broken and looking better than ever. I changed my hair. Subtle at first, just a fresh cut, a shift in color. But then came the wardrobe. Soft silks, sharper lines, the kind of confidence you wear like armor. Not because I needed to prove anything, but because I'd forgotten how good it felt to put myself first. I started going to therapy, twice a month, just to untangle the knots Jason left behind. And let me tell you, there's nothing like hearing a stranger say, "None of that was your fault," and realizing you finally believe it. I stopped explaining myself to friends who asked why I didn't try harder, to relatives who whispered that Jason seemed like such a good guy, to people who thought forgiveness was a shortcut to healing. No, I wasn't bitter. I was clean. Then came the invite. Max sent it, a soft pink Evite to a gallery opening. His. I didn't even know he painted. Turns out, heartbreak turns men into artists too. I went. He saw me from across the room, same navy dress I wore to Sophie's engagement party. Different energy. This time, I wasn't clinging to a man. I was the event. "Camille," he said, handing me a glass of wine. "You look free?" I offered. He smiled. Exactly. We didn't talk about Jason, or Sophie, or that wild weekend takedown. We talked about art, about life, about what came after the mess. That night, he walked me to my car. Didn't kiss me, didn't ask to come up. Just said, "You did it. You won." I nodded. But what I didn't say was, I didn't just win. I evolved. The email came in at 2:07 a.m. Subject line: I just want closure. Jason. I stared at it for a full minute before opening. It was long, rambling. The usual combination of half regret, half self-preservation. I've lost everything. I know I made mistakes. I keep thinking about the good times. I hope one day we can be friends. I still care. He didn't ask how I was. He didn't mention Sophie. Maybe she's gone too. Maybe he's finally sitting in the silence he tried to avoid. But me? I was in Port Townsend, sitting on the deck of a cottage I rented for the month. Waves lapping quietly in the distance, fresh coffee beside me, and my phone buzzing with a calendar reminder that said, "Do nothing today." For the first time in years, I intended to follow through. I didn't reply to his email. I didn't need to. Closure isn't something you get from the person who hurt you. It's something you build after they're gone. And I had. I made peace with the woman I used to be, the one who smiled through disappointment, who made herself small, who said, "It's fine," when it wasn't. I didn't need revenge anymore, because I had something far better. Myself. Unfiltered, undistracted, undeniably whole. That afternoon, I took a walk by the water. I passed a young couple taking engagement photos, she in a lace dress, him trying too hard to hold her bouquet and his balance. They were laughing, and it didn't hurt, not even a little, because I knew what love should feel like now. Not tension disguised as passion, not lies covered with gestures, but quiet safety, consistency, respect. And I would never again settle for less. Later, I took out my journal, something I hadn't touched in months, and wrote 5 words. He lost. I found me. Then I closed the book and left the past there in ink.